it's always like a 50-50 shot almost when you go through a transfer. And that's what I feel like is hard for a lot of people is like, they're like, well, you can just do IVF. Well, IVF doesn't guarantee me a baby. Like it can give me an embryo, but that doesn't mean that that embryo is going to transfer into a live birth.
Sometimes they won't even give you an embryo.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't even get one. We went through 2 egg retrievals where we got no embryos.
Welcome to The Rainbow Connection. This podcast was designed for mothers who are finding their way through life after loss. Whether you're grieving, trying to conceive again, newly pregnant, or holding hope in your heart for what's to come, this space is for you. Each week, you'll hear real and tender stories of love, heartbreak, healing, and the babies who continue to shape us. I'm your host, Kristin Mundy, a mother, doula, and a woman who's walked this path too. May these conversations remind you that you are not alone, that your baby is never forgotten, and that hope and grief can live here together. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about Mother Like No Other, a special community for women who are navigating the tender season of life after loss. Inside Mother Like No Other, you'll find a warm, supportive space of moms who truly get it, plus practical tools to help you through the hard days. You'll have access to a private online community where you can connect with me, an experienced doula, and other moms navigating the same journey. Each month, we gather for live workshops to connect and learn, covering topics like supporting your fertility journey, grounding strategies, self-advocacy, and ways to nurture your mind, body, and soul. We also bring in guest speakers to share their expertise and inspiration. The best part? It's only $22 a month. No long-term commitment, just real support when you need it most. If you're ready to feel more grounded, connected, and held through this season, come join us at thedoulalife.ca/mother. You do not have to go through this journey alone. And by joining us inside Mother Like No Other, you won't have to. Today on The Rainbow Connection, I'm sitting down with Colleen to hear the story of her daughter, Kyleigh, her long-awaited precious baby who was conceived through IVF after years and years of infertility. What unfolded was a pregnancy shadowed by anxiety, severe preeclampsia, and declining blood flow, which led to an emergency delivery at just 27 weeks. Colleen walks us through the hours she and her husband got to spend time and hold their daughter in the NICU, the angels that showed up for them when they really needed it, and all the profound ways Kyleigh still continues to shape their lives. You know, through speaking with Colleen, it is really so obvious how much of an amazing mother she truly is, and just how loved her little girl is. Since filming, we've had a lot of signs and synchronicities show up, little bees when we've been thinking about her or when we are needing a sign. Even just after editing Colleen's episode a few days ago, I went upstairs and found this random swaddle with bees on it, something that we hadn't used in our house for over a year. A sure sign that Kyleigh is here and she is really wanting to show up. Isn't that so wonderful? I'm so honored to share today's episode with you. Okay, enough from me. Now let's hear from Colleen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Rainbow Connection. Today, I am joined with Colleen. Hi, Colleen. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
No, we're so happy to have you. Colleen is going to be sharing with us all about her beautiful angel baby girl. I'm really looking forward to hearing all about her today and all about Colleen's journey and her path to this podcast episode right now. But before we dive in, Colleen, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with our listeners?
I am from Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania with my husband. We live in like a farmhouse. We live on like 46 acres with our 2 dogs, and we recently just added 2 pigs to this chaos. I am a 6th grade teacher at a very small school. We live right over the border of New York, so I teach in New York. My husband is an electrician. We have been together since we were 16, so we've been together like 15 years this September. And there's not much else. I love to read. but we've been battling infertility for the last well, since we've been married. So we've been married going on 6 years. So we've been battling infertility for the last 6 years. So
Okay. Well, we would love to, I say, but we would be grateful to hear all about that. So why don't you start wherever you'd like to start in your story?
I guess I'll start with our transfer for our angel baby. She was our third transfer. We had been our infertility journey is kind of it's confusing, and then you throw COVID in there and it kind of like slowed down some of the processes. But both of us had been through several surgeries. We started trying to have a baby like right when we got married. So we knew pretty quickly that something wasn't right. And I was very adamant to get tested. And so we went through all the testing and eventually were referred to a fertility clinic. And they are absolutely, I cannot say enough positive things about them. The reason we have these embryos and this baby is because of them. And I owe everything to them. But we did a couple egg retrievals, didn't get very many embryos from that. And then decided to do like one. I said it was one last egg retrieval. Looking back now, I'm like, if I have to do another egg retrieval, like I would do it a million times again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I looked at my doctor and I was like, I need you to just like throw everything you can. Like, let's do everything we can to maximize the amount of eggs. And this last egg retrieval we did last April was extremely successful. Of the 8 mature eggs that we got, 5 of them were able to be frozen as embryos. We did transfer one fresh, and that one didn't take, but I kind of went into that transfer knowing I just didn't feel good about it. And so last July 12th of last year, we transferred our best frozen embryo, and that ended up taking. It was positive. It was the first time I had truly ever even seen a positive pregnancy test in my entire life. So that was crazy.
When they did your initial investigations, was there like anything that came up? Was it just maybe diminished ovarian reserve or was it something
No,
more?
so we are going through male factor infertility.
Okay.
So that was the main cause of our infertility. Up until that point, we didn't think there was going to be any issues on my side. We weren't sure. I had like polyps and things like that removed. And right before we did this transfer, we did go through a heteroscopy that just like removes, I don't know, puts saline through everything to clear it out or whatever. I do attribute that to being what was successful. It's probably nothing. It's it's always like a 50-50 shot almost when you go through a transfer, and that's what I feel like is hard for a lot of people is like they're like, "Well, you can just do IVF." Well, IVF doesn't guarantee me a baby. Like it can give me an embryo, but that doesn't mean that that embryo is going to transfer into a live birth.
Sometimes they won't even give you an embryo, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you
It's
don't
like,
even get one. We went through 2 egg retrievals where one egg retrieval, we got no embryos. So even just seeing that positive test, like I was over the moon. I was so excited, but then in my head, because I also deal with anxiety anyway, like the whole time I was counting all my like looking at my betas, making sure that they doubled because they do test you for for the next week every 48 hours to make sure your betas or your HCG level is doubling. After I got to like a comfortable number with that, I was like, they stop testing you, and then you have to like hold your breath until they'll give you the 6-week scan when you can see the heartbeat. And I'm like, oh my god. So we're driving. Our fertility clinic is also 2 hours away from our house. So we're driving up there, and I'm like this could be really great, or we could go and this could be nothing. So I was trying not to hold out hope. And finally, when we saw that heartbeat, like I can't even explain it. It had just been so long, and like up until that point, already so much trauma that we had like faced to get to this point. So seeing that heartbeat was crazy. So I don't even think even seeing the heartbeat, I kind of let myself believe that it was happening. I was like, okay, well, there's a baby there now, but like something could happen. And I feel like hindsight now, I think I probably talked about this with my therapist, but I don't know if I've ever really spoken about it out loud, but I feel like I am attached to her and I am her mom, and that's become my like identity at this point now, I feel. But I never let myself really feel a lot of joy in pregnancy in the beginning because I was so scared that something was going to happen. And I don't know if that's like my subconscious like protecting me, or everything we had already gone through. I feel like I didn't let myself get, like, attached in the beginning because I was, like, constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, "We've had all this bad stuff happen to us, like, surely something good isn't gonna come." Like, that was just my mindset, I guess. And then I was getting frustrated because I had all these other people who were pregnant and they were getting ultrasounds galore, and I was like, "Why am I not getting any ultrasounds? Like, I'm going through infertility, I went through IVF." Like, you would think I would maybe get a couple more ultrasounds to kind of see the baby moving, and
Mhm.
because I couldn't feel her at that point yet because she was still so tiny, I just was constantly saying, like, "I want more ultrasounds," and everyone else is like, "Well, it's fine, like, this is normal, this is just what your," because then at that point, I was dismissed to my regular OB here, that's just what our office did.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Well, that's fantastic, but everyone else has ultrasounds and I wanna see the baby."
Mhm.
So there's a couple times that we got, some nurses who would, like, if the ultrasound room wasn't there, would, like, sneak us in so we could see her, because I think I just needed that constant, like, reassurance. And then when we
Mhm.
heard her heartbeat, I finally, like, I felt like I could breathe again. I was like, "Okay, I can hear it, like, it's there." And then she was an extremely active baby, so, like, I felt
Mhm.
her moving all the time. Like, as soon as she started moving, like, I could feel her. And then at our OB office, I saw one OB and they were like, "Do you wanna go see the maternal fetal medicine doctor?" And I was like, "Well, is it a requirement?" Because we didn't test our embryos. We did sneak peek to find out the gender. We wanted to do it as, like, naturally as possible because we felt like so much of it was taken from us having to go
Mhm.
through IVF. And we didn't do genetic testing because of everything we'd already gone through. We kind of knew the genetics of half of this embryo anyway, so because of all the testing my husband and I had to go through, so it didn't really seem necessary to pay the extra money if insurance was gonna pay for it.
Mhm.
So I asked them, I said, "Well, do we have to go to the maternal fetal medicine doctor? Like, is that necessary?" And this doctor said, "No, it's not necessary, like, it's not a requirement, but if you want to." And I was like, "Well, if you don't feel like I'm high risk enough or, like, it's a necessary thing, then I don't want to. Like, it's another doctor, it's more appointments, it's more money. We've
Mhm.
already spent so much. Like, if the baby's not at risk and I'm not at risk, like, I don't want to." And they said,
Yeah,
"That's
because
fine."
IVF doesn't necessarily like it doesn't always correlate to a high risk pregnancy, right? So many of my clients have done like IVF, and
Mhm.
not many of them see MFMs.
No, and it's, like, hit or miss. Like, some people will be like, "Yes, because it's IVF, it's a high risk pregnancy and you have to go." But then if there's nothing wrong with the mom or the baby, like, that you're seeing so far, like, I could understand, even after, like, 20 weeks. I said, "Well, once we do our 20-week scan, like, if we feel like something's wrong, I have no problem. I will do anything to protect this baby.
Mhm.
But if you don't think it's necessary at 14 weeks, then no, we won't go."
Mhm.
And then I went back for my next appointment, and the next person then that they suggested it again. Like,
Okay.
"Or are you gonna go see a maternal fetal medicine doctor?" And I was like, "Well," so I'm getting mixed messages here, and
Like, it seems you want me to go see an
yeah,
MFM.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, "So what are you doing?" Because at that point, they could only hear the heart rate. Her heart rate was good. Like, they're looking at me, like, everything was normal. Like, I wasn't gaining too much weight, like, nothing was crazy. So they said that the reason this last doctor finally gave me some clarity and said the reason I would suggest it is because sometimes with embryo transfers, you have a higher risk for, like, a heart defect. And I said, "Okay, well, when you put it that way, yes, like, I will book an appointment right now. Please refer me to them, and I would like to go." Because it can put stress on the baby's heart, sometimes on the mom's heart, I guess they were telling me. When I sat down with the our MFM, he said, "Well, they didn't tell you any of this?" And I looked at him and I said, "Even if they told me any of this, it wouldn't have stopped me from transferring this embryo."
Mhm.
So, they referred us to him, and they said, "He'll do your 20-week scan. You can still come here. If he clears you, then and you never have to see him again, then at least you saw him and you know everything's good.
Mhm.
If not, then he can just follow you. You'll get more growth scans that way too, but you can still deliver here at our hospital." And I
Mhm.
said, "Okay," because he's the only MFM in our area, but he's phenomenal. Like, I can't he saved my life.
Mm.
He gave me that time with my daughter. Like, I can never repay this man for everything that he's done for us. He
Mm.
eats and sleeps and breathes his job. Like, he is and he's the only one in the area, but he's in a different hospital system.
Mm.
So when I went to see him, we did our 20-week scan. I remember sitting in his office. He has like walls of books. Like, this is the most intelligent man I've ever seen or met in my life. Like, you could ask him a question and he knows the answer like immediately, but he's very old school and he's older and he's like, I'm nervous every day that he's going to retire and he'll never be there to deliver my other
Mm.
babies but he knows his stuff, but he's very dry and he's not very like, everything's going to be okay, or like, and that's, I think, at that point of my
He's been
pregnancy
around
what
the
I needed.
block, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's seen it all.
I think when you've been around the block and you've seen it a million times, you do kind of grow like a little bit disassociated to
Yes.
it. Just like you lose a little bit of that humanness because it's just such a like normal part of life for him, right?
Yes.
And you're like,
Yeah.
this is my life. This isn't just a part of my life. This is my entire life you're talking about.
Yes, and
Mhm.
he that's what I would describe, like, he was very disassociated from everything because that's what he has to do. But he was very good about, like, he asked from the first appointment, "Is it a boy or a girl? Do you know?" Like, and he always called her by her name, like, 100% of the time. So he was very kind in that way, but very business, like, "This is what we're gonna do." So at the 20-week scan, everything looked normal. The only problem that he saw was that my placenta, like, her placenta was sitting on my cervix. And so he said, "Everything looks good. We're gonna schedule you in another, like, month for your fetal echo so that we can make sure her heart is okay." And he said, she's definitely a girl. So at that point, we were confirmed that it was in fact a girl. And he said, "But most times doctors will tell you to go home and talk to your baby." He said, "I want you to go home and talk to your placenta, tell your placenta to move out of the way, and
Mhm.
then we'll check it again when we come for your fetal echo." So we went back. I was a little bit nervous about it, but it was what, like, I knew I was in good hands. I had thought we were gonna be dismissed that day, so I wasn't prepared to, like, go back to him, but we didn't do the echo, and that was the main reason of us going. So, we went back and forth about maybe we'll cancel the appointment or not, and my husband was like, "Let's just keep it," because the whole reason we went was for her heart, to
Mhm.
check to make sure that everything was good, and to get a more in-depth ultrasound than what they could give us. So we kept it. A couple weeks later, we went back, and in that appointment, my placenta had moved, but he started noticing decreased cord blood flow.
Mm.
And he said, "I don't really like what I'm seeing here. I want you to come back in another 2 weeks." And at that point, I started spiraling because then I'm Googling everything. Well, why is the cord blood flow? Can it be because she's so active and she's kicking her cord? Because she was like kicking her cord and she was moving all around. I was like, is maybe that's why he's not getting a good reading? Like, what's going on? And at that point, I also was having like upper back pain. It
Mm.
wasn't normal. Like, everyone who describes pregnancy back pain, it's always like lower back pain or like middle of the back pain. Like, it's never like upper. It was almost like from my breast line, like, into the back. Looking
Mm.
back now, I think it was signs of preeclampsia,
Mm.
but it wasn't, like, severe, but it was painful enough that I was calling my doctor asking what I could do for it because I was also on aspirin because of IVF,
Mhm.
um, and I was very paranoid about what I should or shouldn't be taking. So I think that that's what it was looking back now, but I had that last appointment and my blood pressure, I guess I should mention this too, has been normal, like, the entire pregnancy. It was a little elevated the day of the transfer, but my doctors up there said that if it's not, then they would be more concerned that I wasn't, like, feeling anything.
Well, it's
Um,
anxiety most of the time, right?
yeah, that's
Mhm.
what they said. But then every other appointment was completely normal. So the day of Christmas break, I do teach 12-year-olds and 6th graders, and they were so excited. They were, like, with me this whole time, and I do teach at a very small Catholic school, so it's a very, like, community type feeling.
Mhm.
And this day I went, it was the day before Christmas break. I had gone through I'm the director of our school's Christmas show. That was, like, 2 days before, so I chalked up my, like, swollenness to just, like, running around, probably doing more than I should have been doing at this point. Um and it was the day of Christmas break, and I went to the doctor again. This time my mom came with me because my husband couldn't get off work, and there was the decreased cord blood flow was even worse than the time before. Like, she
Hmm.
was getting even less, like, blood flow from the
How
placenta.
many weeks were you at this point?
At this point, I was 24 week
Okay.
24 week I might have been 25 weeks, 25 weeks. Um, because I delivered at 20, yes, I think I was 25. Um, but we had made past that 24 mark too, so I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay." So we made it to viability week, which is fantastic, and we also live in an area where there is a fantastic NICU, so, like, if something were to happen, like, I felt okay about where we are. So that day when I saw that, I start spiraling because then he starts talking to me about steroid shots and the steroid shots only last for 2 weeks, and he goes, "You're gonna go early. I don't know how early you're gonna go, but you are gonna go early." Then he's talking about steroid shots, and I'm looking at him because he's very matter of fact, and I'm like, "What do you mean early? Like, how early are we talking? Like, are you talking I need to do
Hmm.
the steroid shots now? Is this happening in, like, 2 weeks? Like, I don't understand what's going on." Because before, they had told me I was gonna be induced because it was an IVF pregnancy. I just needed to be monitored or whatever. I didn't get into all of that because I wasn't sure that that was really the plan I wanted to do, but I figured that was something that could wait until I was further along.
Hmm.
But then when he starts talking about steroid shots, I'm like, "Okay." So then he goes, "You can go ahead and get changed, and then I wanna take your blood pressure after." But of you wanna take my blood pressure after this appointment, you just told me I'm gonna probably deliver early, and I'm hysterically crying.
Hmm.
So, my blood pressure was, like, 170 over
Hmm.
something crazy, and he was like, "I don't feel comfortable with you leaving the office." And I said, "Okay." And the nurse is looking at him, and she's like, "Well, I can take it again, but it's not gonna go down, like, look at her, like, this isn't going down."
Hmm.
And he said, "Well, go sit in the room across the hall, try to calm down a little bit, and then take it again, because you can't leave the office like this."
Even just being told, like, you can't leave the office like this is like, okay, that's not gonna help. Like,
Yeah, this isn't helping anything,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
But he was like, "This is what we need to do. I need to go to my next appointment," whatever. So I went across the hall. I called my husband. He was able to calm me down. Between him and my mom, I was able to be calm enough that we were able to get my blood pressure down to something where he felt comfortable with me leaving. Because a lot of that was because he's asking me what my blood pressure has been because they never took it up till this point at Dr. Dolkart's office. Like, it's always just been over here at my other OB. And he said, I looked at him and I said, "I had an appointment on Monday at my OB's office and it was perfect. Like, I've always had perfect blood pressure."
Hmm.
Um, he goes, "Well, this is not perfect." So,
Hmm.
I know that, but I also was just told devastating news.
Hmm.
So I calmed down. He said, "I want to see you back on," I think it was December 26th. He wanted to see me the day after Christmas. So I scheduled that appointment and then I went back to school. And then my sister, she lives in North Carolina. She was coming up that weekend for Christmas. My friend had a baby shower an hour and a half away. So I went to that. And then the day after this appointment, we went and picked up the puppy
It's
that
just
was 2.
crazy.
Like, what were we
Finishing
thinking?
school, getting a puppy, going to a shower, having
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah. So I figured I'm just like, I'm doing too much. Like, I'm just doing too much. We knew I had decreased cord blood flow, so maybe I needed to take it a little easier. I don't know, but I was like, I'm just doing too much. This is the
But in your
problem.
defense, it is Christmas. So it's like
Yes.
for everybody is doing too much at that point, right? And
Yeah.
like and sometimes when you get that kind of news, distraction is a really helpful tool. Staying busy is a really helpful tool.
Well, and the point of getting the puppy was so that we had the puppy before the baby was born so that she could grow up with the dog, and then it would hopefully be trained enough by the time March came around because we were due in March. And then I was like, I hemmed and hawed about going to the shower, and finally I ended up deciding, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm going up, I'm driving an hour and a half. My sister came with me in the car. I was like, it's not a big deal. I'm sitting in a shower for like an hour and then I'll come home.
Like sitting at
So,
home or sitting there, like what
yeah, like I'd be
is
doing
the
the
big
same
difference?
thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and I wanted to support her. So I I went there, and as I'm coming home, like, my feet are just like, we did a little bit of Christmas shopping for our parents, my sister and I, and as I came home, like, my feet are just, like, really swollen, and that is the only sign that I could think of at that point. But by then, like, my maternal fetal medicine doctor had told me of preeclampsia. He's like, "I think you have preeclampsia." I think he told me that, like, our 2nd or 3rd appointment.
Was that just
Um,
because of the high blood pressure, or was that because you had, like, protein in
because of
your
the cord
urine?
blood just because of the
Oh,
cord blood flow. So,
okay.
he said it was because of the cord blood flow, and then he said, "With your blood pressure being so high." And I was adamant that that was not true blood pressure reading for me. I was
Mhm,
like, "That's
mhm,
not my blood pressure." And he was like, "Well, that's
mhm,
what it's reading in my office."
mhm,
So he said between the blood pressure and the cord blood flow from the placenta, that's what was telling him that I had preeclampsia. So when I came home that night, my feet were just really swollen. And I was like, well, I'm pregnant. Like, of course they're swollen. That's normal.
mhm.
But when I couldn't put my Crocs on my feet, I was like, something seems not right.
Mm.
So I sat down and checked my blood pressure. And I don't remember the number it was at that point, but I couldn't get it to come down because we have a blood pressure monitor at home, and I couldn't get it to come down by just, like, sitting and relaxing, and I kept telling my husband, like, "It's fine, like, we're gonna be fine," and he was like, "No, if you can't get it, we're gonna do one more reading, and if it doesn't come down, then I'm taking you to the hospital." So, we went to our local hospital, which is where my OB office was, and after being admitted there, they put me on an NST. But the baby, like, she was so little at this point still that, like, it was hard to even find her heart rate on the NST, so we're constantly having to adjust it. And then they took blood there and did a urine sample there. When they did the urine sample there, they did find protein in my urine, and then, some of my blood work also pointed to it. So then a doctor came in and told me that I had severe preeclampsia, so they were
Mm,
transferring me to the other hospital that had the NICU, which is where my maternal fetal medicine doctor was.
okay.
When they said that they were transferring me to the NICU, I started spiraling out of control. I was like, "Am I having a baby
Mhm,
tonight? Like, what is going on?" Because I went from, "You probably have preeclampsia," to, "You have severe preeclampsia," in the matter of 72 hours.
mhm.
But my blood pressure sitting in that hospital was 217 over 80 something.
And what was it when you were at home? Was it not that high, or what?
It was in, like, the 160s, 170s was the
Okay,
top.
so
I
it's
can't ever remember
skyrocket.
the bottom number. Yes, it's skyrocketed.
Mhm.
And when he looked at that 217 number, he's like, that I mean, I should have been having a seizure. Like, it was
Mhm,
crazy.
that's probably the highest number I've ever heard of. Yeah.
When I saw that number, I started to panic too. And then my husband at this point is, like, worried that he's losing both of us.
Mm,
So he's in, like, fight or flight mode. So he
mhm.
called my parents to let them know what was going on, and they transported us by ambulance. My parents came and took our car over there too. Thank God my husband got to come with me, but they put me on a I forgot this too. They did give me magnesium
Like,
very
right away.
quickly. Yes.
Now, had you already been given, like, steroid shots too for the
No.
baby? Okay,
No. So
okay.
at this point, Dolcart hadn't given me my maternal medicine doctor hadn't given me the steroid shots yet because he didn't think that I was at that point. The blood flow was not great, but it still wasn't to the point where he was like, "I need to see you in here every other day to monitor this." So he was like, "We still have time to decide this." He's like, "Because the safest place for her right now is inside
Mhm.
until it's not." So they gave me magnesium, a lot of magnesium very quickly,
Mm,
and that brought my blood pressure down. In the ambulance on the way to the other hospital, it was like a 20-minute, 25-minute ambulance ride. My blood pressure stabilized and it got back to normal. As soon as they got me into labor and delivery at this other hospital, they called my maternal fetal medicine doctor who came right in. It was like by the time we got transferred, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
mm.
Came right in and basically he faxed over a letter to the other people, and basically said he was taking over my care from that
I
point
was
on.
gonna
So, like,
say he's your doctor now.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "You're gonna be mine for the duration of this pregnancy. I do not wanna have another baby if he's not delivering this child." Like, that's how much I respect this man. So he came right in and did an ultrasound very quickly just to see where we were at, and he's the blood flow, looked better than what it had looked like before at the appointment just a couple days ago. So he said he gave me Precardia for my blood pressure, and then did order me the steroid shots, and then I was on a magnesium drip. So I was on the 24-hour magnesium drip.
Which is horrible.
Absolutely. I don't even know how to describe that to anyone who hasn't experienced it. Like,
I've never experienced it, but I've seen my clients experience it, and it's not fun. It's not a walk in the park by any means.
no, it's like you feel like your insides are burning, and I couldn't even keep water down at one point. It was it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
Mhm.
And so then we did had to stay at the hospital for those 24 hours, and I needed to do my steroid shots like every 12 hours, the 2 steroid shots. Um, so in that time, they were able to once I was done with the magnesium, they were able to move us down into, like, the postpartum unit after a while, after the magnesium drip was done. And then when we were there, the NICU came to talk to us to tell us what would happen. I had a phenomenal nurse in labor and delivery. I can't even say enough wonderful things about her that talked me through everything. She looked at me and she said, "Dr. Dolkart is the most amazing doctor I've ever witnessed." She's like, "I've been here 6 weeks, but I swear I've watched him do a C-section in like 6 minutes." Like he
Mhm.
said, from the time that you're in there and the baby's out, and you're sewn up, like 10 minutes, I swear.
Mhm.
So I knew I was in good hands between her and my doctor. Like I knew that we were going to be okay. So once that all settled and my blood pressure was coming down, they were able to release me. So I came home on Christmas Eve, was able to, and then Dr. Dolkar said, I still wanted you to keep that appointment the day after Christmas.
Mhm.
So I went in to see Dr. Dolkart the day after Christmas, and the cord blood flow hadn't changed since the hospital. He said, "So we're still in the same thing." He's like, "You got those steroid shots, you did the magnesium drip for her brain. Like we're okay right now."
Mhm.
I will tell you when we're not.
At
Do
this
an
point,
NSD.
is he like saying, is he giving you scenarios like, because at this point, obviously, baby is young, right?
Mhm.
I think you're like around
At
26
this point,
weeks.
I'd be 26 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. So baby's still better in. At this point, is
Mhm.
he like mapping out and making it really clear for you when they would intervene and like maybe when baby would be better
No,
out?
no,
Okay.
he basically was like, "We're gonna take it appointment by appointment, and we wanna get you as far as we can. Every
Yeah.
week is better."
Yeah.
So when we were sitting in the hospital on Sunday, and 'cause every my it was so nice and convenient for my teacher brain that my weeks changed every time on a Sunday. So when we were
Hmm.
sitting in the hospital on Sunday, I'm like, "Okay, well, now we're 26 weeks. So now we're a little bit further along." Um,
Every week is a huge milestone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we learned that very quickly. Every week and every ounce, like, matters so much. You wouldn't believe, I feel like, until you're in this situation, like, how much, like, 1 ounce even matters.
Hmm.
So, he hooked me up to an NST, and she wasn't as responsive as he wanted her to be,
Mm.
despite eating a sugary donut before or no, maybe no, it was okay, but I don't remember this. It was okay enough that he sent me home that day. But
Okay.
then the next day, he's like, "But I want you to come in for an NST tomorrow." So I said, "Okay." So that's when we came in, and the nurse looked at me and she's like, "Make sure you eat like a really sugary donut. Have some sugar before you come in here, just so we can make sure that she's super active." Because she wasn't as active as she had been in the hospital. She was also being pumped with a lot of meds while we were in the hospital. And she loved sugary cranberry juice from the hospital. That would make her move all over the place. So we went in the next day. He didn't like the reading on that NST, so he said, "So I can send you home, or we'll just put you in the hospital and, like, monitor it." He's like,
Hmm.
"If I like what I'm seeing in another, like, couple hours, you can go home." I said, "Okay, well, we're right here." We ended up going into the hospital, hooking up to another NST, but my blood pressure was really high, so they gave me more blood pressure medicine and monitored her there. And then that's when I asked for, like, a Xanax or a Zoloft, like, something to help manage this. I was like, "Because I'm getting more anxious and my blood pressure is going up when he's coming, when I know he's coming or when he's in the room," because even though I love and respect this man so much now, but that's after everything has happened. Like, in that
Hmm.
moment, he was causing me so much anxiety. I couldn't get a straight answer out of him. I didn't know what was happening. I was worried about my baby. My husband is
Well, and you never know what he's gonna say when he comes in, right? Like it could
yeah.
be like, we're delivering this baby now. It's like like it is
Yes.
that's that white coat syndrome, right? It's a real
Yes,
thing.
100%. And I mean, those weeks are like a blur. Like, I don't even know exactly when I went to the hospital, what I went to the hospital for. I just remember that we were in the hospital 3 different times. I didn't know what he was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
So, after that last time, we were released again, and he said, "I wanna see you back in my office on January 2nd."
Okay.
Because they were closed on New Year's. At this point, I was so paranoid about everything, and I had told ours for a long time, like, "We're not gonna buy a Doppler. We're not gonna do any of that because that's just gonna I'm gonna be checking it all the time, and you hear all those stories, if you don't know where to look for it, like, it's just gonna cause you more anxiety." But I looked at my husband, I said, "After being in the hospital so much, doing so many NSTs, I think I know where to find her heartbeat. Like, I know where she's laying, and I think this would just give me peace of mind for the days that we're not at Dolcart's office." So, we got one of those. I was checking it every day. Her heart rate stayed consistently even at home. But January 2nd came, we went to his office. He took one look, and my husband and I also at this point, because we had had so many cord blood flows, like, checks, like, being in the hospital and his office, like, we knew what was good blood flow and we knew what was bad blood flow. Immediately, we both knew that it was bad. As soon as he found the blood flow, like, we both looked at each other and we're like, "This is it. It isn't good." He looked at me and he said, "I need you to go to the hospital, and we're gonna have this baby tonight."
Mm.
And he said, "When was the last time you ate?" That whole morning, I was so sick to my stomach, like, I couldn't eat anything. I think I knew. Like, I just knew that something just in my gut, that something was wrong. But I had had one of those, like, Nature's Bakery, like, fig bars, like, just a tiny square, and I had barely had any of it, and he said, "Okay, so since you just ate at 9, we're gonna have to wait until 6 o'clock to do the C-section." He's like, "But we're gonna put you in the hospital to monitor you while we do that."
Mm-hmm.
So, we walked over to the hospital, called my family. We were scheduled to do the C-section at 6 that night. The nurse that had been there, that was there that first day, that talked me through everything, she was at the hospital every time we were admitted to the hospital. So, like, the
Mm-hmm.
3rd time we were there, but she wasn't my nurse this day. Um, but she actually she came into my room and she said, "I just want you to know that if your C-section is moved, like, I did ask if I could be in there with you." Like,
Mm-hmm.
she went out of her way to ask that. She asked, and then she wanted to surprise me, but she ended up being my baby nurse that day. She couldn't touch the baby because it was a NICU baby,
Mm-hmm.
but she specifically came in there for me,
Mm.
and she sat by my head when my husband went to see her. Like, she just this nurse, I can't even I actually nominated her for a Daisy Award and got to present it to her because I cannot say enough good things about this woman. She was
Mm.
incredible, and she'd only been there 6 weeks. But, I mean, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. So, my doctor came in, and he noticed that, because I knew it, and I knew something was wrong. I called the nurse in because her heart rate was always consistent. She
Mm-hmm.
was 130, like, 128, 134 consistently. Like, she didn't drop below it very often. She didn't go above it unless he needed her to. Like, she was consistent right there. She dropped into, like, the 90s at one point, and I started to panic, and I was like, "Something's wrong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't right." And they're like, "It's okay. Like, she just moved around. It's okay. She just moved off the monitor," and her heart rate would go right back up. This only happened once, but when he came over to check, he didn't say it. No nurse told me this, but I know that he saw that, and he moved my C-section up. And if he had not done that, I wouldn't have had any time with my daughter. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know I would have been delivering a stillborn baby, and I'm so grateful.
While we take a quick break, I want to introduce you to The Haven, my signature support program for mothers who are pregnant again after miscarriage, TFMR, stillbirth, or infant loss. This is not just a course. The Haven is a trauma-informed community program that includes weekly live workshops, expert guest speakers, and ongoing support from me, an experienced doula and fellow loss mom, anytime you need it. You'll also receive one-on-one check-ins, guided journaling prompts, full access to my birth course, Reclaim, and a warm, intimate community of other PAL mothers, a place where you can be real, be held, and be reminded that you are not alone in this. Enrollment inside the Haven is now open, and support is available to walk with you throughout your entire pregnancy, from the moment you see those 2 pink lines all the way until your baby is tucked safely into your arms. If you've been longing for a place to feel safe, feel seen, and be supported throughout your pregnancy, then the Haven was made for you. You can learn more at thedoulalife.ca/haven. Inside the Haven, your baby is remembered, your voice is honored, and you are fully supported every step of the way.
All of a sudden, everyone's coming in scrub caps. I'm like, wait, we're not doing this until 6. Like, what is happening? It's only like 2:00 in the afternoon. And Dolcart said, he's like, well, the other ones are routine C-sections. Yours is a little bit more emergent, so we're going to do yours now. So that was like 2:15. I was prepped and ready to go by 3. I was in the operating room at like 3:10. My husband came in there. They started everything at like 3:20. Kyleigh was born at 3:26. Like he worked so fast. Which that's also a crazy thing, being in a C-section and everyone's just like, it's normal. And you're like, your whole life is happening right before you, and they're just like talking about what they ate for dinner. Like, it's just, that was the wildest thing for me, I think. And I was prepared. I knew, even with the steroid shots, that she wouldn't cry. Like, we would not probably hear her cry. She was too little. Because she was still measuring. She was measuring a pound-ish, they said. She was slowly growing. Like, she was still growing, even with the decreased cord blood flow, but as that cord blood flow got worse, she wasn't getting those nutrients from the placenta, so she was growing slower. But that's why it wasn't like a super emergent thing in the beginning, because she still was gaining ounces each week. So she was born at 3:26. She was 1 pound 4 ounces. So tiny, but she was 10.5 inches long. She had the longest legs I've ever seen in my life. But it took them a really long time in there. But as soon as I saw her, they lifted her out, and her arms are kicking and her legs are kicking, and the nurse who came in specifically for me, she said, she's fighting, she's doing everything she can, she's fighting. And I just saw her little hands like kicking around, and it took them so long to let my husband over there to see her, because she was breathing. Like, she was trying to breathe over the ventilator. They couldn't intubate her because she was trying to breathe. So I knew that those steroid shots did what they were supposed to do. And with all of our other checks, like, her heart was great, her brain was great, like, everything, all of her organs were fantastic. Like, everything was exactly the way they were supposed to. And she was trying really hard to do what she was supposed to do and breathe. They finally got her intubated, and they brought Todd over, my husband, so that he could see her. And then obviously, like, quickly rushed her to the NICU. And then you're just kind of lying there, and that was crazy to me too. So after I was all done and situated in my room, they took my husband to go see her. He saw her and he spent some time with her, and then came back to get me, and then we both were able to go be in the NICU and see her for a while. So we sat with her for a while. Time moves so strange in that NICU. I can't even, like, I don't even know how long we were there. Maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, maybe 10 minutes. Like, I have no idea, because time moves so strange.
Well, and you're still in a state of, you just had given birth, and your whole life had just changed in just a matter of hours, right?
Yeah. So I did know someone in the NICU at the time. She had lost a twin. So she had twins and lost one. I was in the NICU with her other twin, and left like a care package for me in there. So I felt just like that support that you get from a NICU. There's really nothing like that. And I was only there for a few hours. After we spent some time with her, they were taking us back to our room, our recovery room. And they said, you can come back whenever you want to 24 hours a day. Like, you're always welcome here. But I looked at my husband and I was like, I think, like, we just need to sleep. Like, we have been in fight or flight. Like, we both decided, like, it was time to sleep. Like, him and I, that was the first time in 5 years, at that point, 5.5 years, that we could breathe. Like, we finally, like, let out the breath that we've been holding, like, going through infertility and going through IVF and, like, going through all this. Like, we finally breathe and we're like, "She's here.
Mhm.
She's finally here." So we had decided we're gonna go back, we're gonna take a nap, and then we're going to, when they wake me up to go to the bathroom and move around, that's when we will go back and see her. So that was the plan. They came in to get me up and moving around, and they said, so I thought they were gonna take me to go to the bathroom, and they're like, "We're actually gonna go to the NICU." And I looked at Todd and I was like, Something's not right." Like, they wouldn't be
Mm.
telling us that we have to go to the NICU if something wasn't right.
Mhm.
So, and then they put me in a wheelchair, and the speed at which they were rushing me down those hallways,
Mhm.
like, I knew the whole time that something was wrong, and turning the corner to see her doctor and all of the nurses giving her CPR is something that I will never forget. And I have felt, like, guilty that I wasn't there when it happened, and looking back, like, so many people have told me, like, "You weren't supposed to be there." Like, if I would have heard that and have seen her vitals flatline, like, I'm thankful that when by the time they got there, they had turned off all the machines, like, the beeping, so all we just saw was her. And I knew that they did everything they could. Like, there wasn't a doubt in my mind looking at them that they didn't do every single thing they could for her. It's still a mystery, like, what happened, because she needed some glucose after she was born, and she was responding well to that. She was trying to breathe over her tubes, but I think she was just too little. Like, her heart was just too little. So what happened, from what I remember, I mean, like I said, like, it's all just a blur. From what I recall, the doctor said that her heart rate dropped, and then it just couldn't, she was so little that it just couldn't keep up. Like, all her organs just couldn't keep up with it. And that's what really told me, like, even though we were 27 and 5 when I delivered, but she was really measuring at 24. So
Mhm.
her body had just hit viability, whereas, like, we were several weeks past, but her little body just couldn't keep up with
Mhm.
everything. But I'm thankful that we were where we were, because I know that without that doctor, like, I wouldn't have had those 8 hours that she was here. Without those
Mhm.
NICU doctors, like, I wouldn't have been given that time. But
Mhm.
it was definitely something that you don't expect to see. Like, you don't expect to see the end of your pregnancy, like, happening like that, but she was worth it. I would do it again
Mhm.
in a second.
So what happened when you went in that room? Were you able to hold her or
Yeah. So as soon as they did their CPR for as long as they needed to do it and turn off the machines, and the doctor looked at us and said, "I'm sorry." He said, they asked if we wanted to hold her, and I mean, time seriously does move so strangely in that NICU. I do not know how long we were there, but we held her for hours. My husband called our parents, and so the only people allowed in our NICU was the parents, and, like, one other person, like, that we have given approval to. But because everything happened, they let my parents and my husband's mom into the NICU with us. So they came in and they sat with us, and we held her and we just cried. But I just kept saying, like, "No, like, this isn't happening. Like, this isn't." I just kept waiting for, like, her to start breathing or something. And we got her baptized there too. They asked us if we if we wanted to have the cuddle cot in our room. And I didn't I mean, at that point, I don't know what that is. So they kind of explained it, and if anyone doesn't know what it is a like a cooling bed that just keeps the baby cool so that you can hold it and have, like you can hold your baby and have time with your baby because you're not given that, when something like this happens.
Mhm.
And so they got her cleaned up and put her in, this beautiful white dress and a blanket and brought the cuddle cot up to our room, and we held her for the next 24 hours, like, we didn't let her go. And before I was in this situation, I remember thinking I saw someone who held their baby after they had passed, and, like, I didn't know about a cuddle cot, I didn't know what it was, but I saw it and I was like, "That seems so weird to me, like, I don't know that I could hold my baby who has passed."
Mhm.
And then it happened to me, and I can't imagine not having that time. I can't
Mhm.
imagine the people who are not given that time because those 24 hours were so special. We had so many people be able to come and meet her. My husband and I also are the only 2 people who got to hold her,
Mhm.
not because we made it that way, but it's special to me that we're the only 2 people who did.
Mhm.
But no one can take those 24 hours from us, and I think
Mhm.
without that cuddle cot and that time and everything, like, the NICU did for us, like, they gave us pictures, they took pictures of her, they did molds of her feet. She had huge feet for being
Mhm.
27 weeks old, um, but they gave us molds of her feet, um, her blanket, like, anything she touched, beside they didn't give me the NICU blanket that she was in, um, but they were, like, so supportive of this whole thing. It was very eye-opening because you don't expect that to be part of your story, but then when it is, you're so appreciative of the people who go out of your way to make it
Like those
okay as it can
small
be.
yeah, those small little gestures, like,
Yeah,
those small things, seemingly small to other people are just, like,
they're huge.
they're really life-changing, like, I know so many people didn't get a chance to get footprints or didn't get a chance to have a cuddle cot or
Yeah,
they really, like, are really big deals.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're very
Mhm.
special because we have her fingerprints, we have her footprints, like, I have her footprint on this necklace. My husband wears one too, like, we were getting this ring, they took pictures of her with this ring, and I got it put on a permanent necklace so that I have it with me, like, those things that seem like nothing mean the world to us. We right after, it was very fresh, did an interview for the Children's Miracle Network that raises funds for the NICU and explained why donations to the NICU are important because it doesn't just help babies that are sick, but these donations also help grieving parents. Like, they
Mhm.
give those parents things that, like, we wouldn't normally have.
Well, because no one even thinks of doing these things, right? They don't even know they're gonna be in an NICU. Like, so many parents go
Yeah,
in feeling unprepared or unsupported and, they don't know until,
yeah,
sometimes it's hindsight and you're like, "I really wish I had this or I did this or had this small comfort." And
yeah,
when you're in a state of
absolutely.
flight or fight too, it's so hard to make those decisions to just show up
Yeah.
for yourself, so
Yeah, that was
mhm,
one of the I was talking to the person who, was in the NICU too, and she lost one of her twins. We were talking about our babies at one point, and she had said something about her NICU blanket, and because Kylie's NICU blanket had bees on it, so I have always and I found too, through a lot of lost parents, you kind of, like because you don't have a lot. Especially when they were babies. You don't have a lot to hang on to about, like, what they liked or what they were into, like but for me, seeing those bees on her NICU blanket, like, that first picture I have of her, she's laying on those bees, so for me, like, bees represent her, and we were talking about it, and she was like, "Do you have Kylie's blanket?" And I said, "No." That's my one regret is that I didn't ask for that specific blanket, but I mean, who thinks of that when you're in fight or flight and you're just trying to survive at that point? And one day, it was the last day of school, I was finishing up my paperwork, she texted me and she was like, "Hey, I have something for you, can you just come meet me out front?" And I said, "Okay." And I go out front and she texted all the nurses in the NICU that she could, and she said, "I need you to find this blanket for me." And now I have it. So,
My
like,
gosh.
it's it's the smallest thing, but, like, the biggest gift.
That's a huge thing.
It's huge, and I just it shows you, like, when you lose everything, like, it shows you what matters and who has shown up for you, and I think that's the biggest lesson we have taken from this is, like, nothing matters when you've lost everything, but when people show up, like, and show you that they love and care for you, like, nothing is more special than that. I had, one of my students' parents from taught 3 of her kids now. I just graduated the last one a couple years ago, but she has also been through a lot in her life, and she went to my mom and went to my school, and I also graduated from the school that she taught at, so I don't know if she said something there, but she gave everyone envelopes with our address on it and just said, "If you wanna just send them a note, you can send a gift card, you don't have to send a gift card, but just let them know that you're thinking of them, whatever, if you want to. Here" because so many people want to do things but don't know how, um,
Mhm.
and when I found out that it was her, like, I just have no like, I mean, I have a binder full, like, of just cards and gift cards, like, cards from students that I taught, like, 6 years ago, cards from teachers I had in high school, cards from people at my mom's work, like, we have so many cards, my husband's works, like, crazy, and I looked at her like, I texted her and I said, "I have no idea, like, how to thank you for this because these cards are so special, like, the words in there, some of them 'em don't say anything, some of them say, like, 'We're thinking of you.' Some of them have gift cards, like, one of my class they were seniors, they just graduated, seniors in high school, they went out of their way to find every member of that class at school, they go to several different schools, and get a card signed and send it to me. Like, it's just, like, when people show up for you like that, like, it really puts into perspective what's important
Mhm.
in life, um, but she said to me, she said, "No one wants a casserole." Like, you don't need 17 casseroles when you go through
Mhm.
something like this, but those cards are special, and she's right,
Mhm.
like, they are so when things are hard, like, I know I have a village of people, like, we have people who will do what they can to support us, and that's
Mhm.
been the biggest lesson I think that this has taught us. It's a really awful way to find out this lesson, but we do have a very, very large village who are willing to support us.
Mhm. Just listening to your story, it seems like even in the hardest moments, there was like these moments of humanness and care and love and support, the people that kind of showed up and held you in like the darkest hours, like your MFM, that nurse, your friend in the NICU, your
Mhm.
family. It just seems like there was like angels throughout this whole journey. And
100%.
obviously, we'd want it to be very different, but it does give a level of comfort. And it really does, like you said, nothing else does matter but your family and your baby and what you're going through. Like life is literally over. Like that's how it feels. And those small acts of kindness and those gestures really mean the world when your world has fallen apart, right?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one episode that you did a while ago that said something like, "You have to keep going." I don't even remember the exact words, but, like, you life keeps going. Like, you have to keep going because life doesn't stop. I
Mhm.
remember that when we got out of the NICU, like, the mortgage was due. Like, that was the wildest concept to me. I'm
You're like,
like,
"What?"
"I have to pay the mortgage?" Like,
Mhm,
my world
mhm,
just ended when I walked out of
mhm,
that hospital, but, like, my I still have to pay for my house because I still need somewhere to live. So
mhm.
it was just a very wild concept that, like, the world kept turning and then you didn't.
Yeah, I remember one guest saying, like, I got home and I could hear it was summertime and I could hear, kids playing outside and laughing. And she was like, how dare you
Yeah,
be laughing? Like, my daughter just died. Like, how is
that's
the
how it
world
feels, yeah.
continuing? Like, I remember too, from my own experience, I remember going on Instagram and like my family started posting normally again, let's just say.
Mhm.
And I just remember being like, "How dare you
Yeah,
carry
yeah,
on with your life? Like, I haven't. Like, I'm still here. I'm still in bed, and my daughter is still gone."
yeah,
And it is the most wild concept in the world, just
yeah.
that life continues.
100%, and, like, you still go through
Mhm.
postpartum symptoms. Like,
Yeah.
you still have postpartum hair loss and hair growth, and you might still produce milk. Like, I remember sitting there like,
Yeah.
I'm going through all of that, but I don't have the baby at the end of this. So, that's
Yeah.
how I feel like I have to try to put it into perspective for some people is like, I'm going through the same thing you're going through, but I don't have a baby.
Mhm.
So, if you're complaining about how awful it is that you're losing your hair, or you are leaking, or you have all these other things, you're sweating,
Mhm.
you're holding your baby while you're going through all of that. Mine sits in an urn.
You're lack of sleep because your baby's crying. I'm lack of sleep because I'm crying. Like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just an added level of, like, torture postpartum, and
Yeah.
postpartum isn't 6 weeks, postpartum is years,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not like your body takes a really long time to recover, and, it's so true. I think, like, having that baby to, like, smile up at you or nuzzle in with you, it makes postpartum, like, worth it. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a next level of, like, cruelness
Mhm.
with losing your baby, and I totally
Yeah.
see you and validate that because it's
Thank
so
you.
hard, it's so
It is.
hard.
And until you've been through it, you don't understand it,
Totally,
but you wouldn't wish it on anyone either. So,
totally, totally, and it's like, it does continue on things, like, people may have moved on and you're like, "I'm still here, I'm still
mhm.
postpartum," like, it's very real and visceral and raw for me still because I get a
Yeah.
reminder every single time I look in the mirror, right? Every
Mhm.
single time I'm up in the night or whatever it might be. Colleen, I'd be interested to hear about, what life kind of looked like after, what life looks like now for you guys, because I know it's still pretty fresh for you.
Yeah.
Of course, it's fresh for you. It's going to be fresh for a while, but what does life kind of look like now?
So, she was born and passed away on January 2nd. I went back to work, as soon as my doctor cleared me to go back to work, which seemed crazy for some people. They're like, "Take all the time you need." My therapist was even unsure that she wanted me to go back to work,
Hmm.
because that was the one thing I was very adamant about in the hospital. I said, "I'm not leaving here until I can get an appointment with my therapist." I needed it, I think, and I've been seeing her since then, and I think it's been a major part of this healing journey for me.
Hmm.
So I went back to work as soon as I could, and my MFM said that I could go to back to work as soon as I felt okay enough to go back to work because I couldn't stay home. Like, when I'm
Hmm.
staying home, I'm just being reminded of everything. I have a room upstairs of clothes that she'll never wear. I have a stroller
Hmm.
and a car seat that she'll never get to sit in. And so that was a constant reminder that I needed to not be there.
Yeah,
So my husband went back to work the week before I did, so I could kind of like ease into it, and ease into being alone because sometimes being alone is still hard. Being a teacher, I did have the summer off, so like this summer was heavy. I I knew it was gonna be hard because I pictured my summer to look a whole lot different than it
of
was
course.
going to. So, I went back to work at the end of January, and when you teach kids and they know you're pregnant, and then
Hmm.
you have to tell them that you had the baby and lost the baby, like, that was a very weird and hard
Hmm.
thing, and I remember being in the hospital that first day after we lost Kyleigh, and I said, I was worried about my kids. And they're like, "You can't worry about your kids." And I was like, "But I am worried about my kids because
Hmm.
there was one specific student, I'm like, she loves me and she loves this baby, and I'm worried
Hmm.
about that she's going to worry about me,
Hmm.
about Kyleigh, about whatever. So I'm very thankful to work in a school that family comes first, always. They didn't bat an eye, and my plan over Christmas break was to work on my maternity leave plans, and obviously that didn't happen. So I left school and nothing was ready. My room
Things
was
were a
not ready
mess.
for a sub. Things were an absolute mess in my room because not only are my 6th graders in charge of the show, they also had a social studies project due that week. Everything was everywhere. I didn't have any plans ready. I didn't even have plans for the week we came back from break because the survival plan in December as a teacher is just to get to Christmas break.
Mhm.
Mm, so I called my one of my friends, she teaches next door to me, and she said, "Just don't worry about it. I'll go into your classroom, I'll clean it up. I'll take care of it." And I was like, "No, I can't put that on you." She's like, "I will do it. It's not a big deal." She went into my classroom, got everything for me, like, laid it out. I sent over every unit I was in to the people who are covering it, and they're like, "I don't want you to think about this. Like, you take whatever time you need for your family."
In those moments, you just have to say yes. Like,
Yeah,
you just have to hand it over.
yes. And
Yeah.
that was one of the hardest things for me is just being like to relinquish that control, but I needed to, and I'm very thankful for a school that supported me 100%. So when I came back, my students were so good, and they are the reason that I was able to keep going. Like, I got up every day and I gave my all at school, and that was all I had to give because I needed to show up. I checked it at the door, but it was almost refreshing sometimes to know that for 8 hours, I'm not Kyleigh's mom who lost her. I'm Mrs. Meehan who's teaching these kids.
Mhm.
And it was 8 hours where I could just be supported and loved for by 12-year-olds, and something I will say until the cows come home is that everyone should be loved by 12-year-olds for one time in their life. They are so special. You just meet them where they are and accept them for them that they are, and they are the most special age group, and I am so thankful that that is my job and that I get to teach them because they are the reason that I was able to make it through the year.
Mm. I have a 12-year-old nephew and niece, both 12 years old, and I will agree they are really special, and they really are becoming, like, their own unique little
Yes.
humans at that point, right?
Yes, it's so fun to
Mhm.
watch them become their own unique little humans, and being 12 is just such a special age. Um, uh, like, these students, like, on Mother's Day, showed up and brought me cards so that I wouldn't be forgotten. They just I don't know, I can't even put into words how special these kids are. Like, on Teacher Appreciation Week, our school does this thing where, like, each day they bring something that's like a piece of candy or a card to their teacher. One of my students, when she said, "It was really hard to do this, but I tried as hard as I could." She went out of her way to find red carnations because that is January's birth flower, and that's January's birthstone is red, and she went out of her way to find the colors and the flower that, like, represented Kyleigh, and I was like, I just don't deserve to be loved by 12-year-olds." Um,
I'm sure
so
that's not true.
so we at the end of the year, we did go through, halfway through the year, we decided to go through another transfer. We felt like we'd been waiting for so long, and so much of our journey was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and we knew that, like, the best thing for us to push was to push forward and to keep going instead of just to sit and lie in our grief, because no matter when we decided to do another transfer, it was going to be hard. Like, it didn't matter when it was going to be hard. Um so we went through another transfer in June 12th. It was literally 11 months to the day after we transferred Kyleigh. Um
Mm.
and I was like, I kept seeing all these signs. I was like, this is perfect. This baby was going to be due on March 2nd, which was the month that Kyleigh was supposed to be born, but the day that she was born. And I was trying to see all these signs. And I had told everyone that we were transferring this time because I didn't tell anyone before.
Mhm.
Um, but I told everyone that, like, we're doing this, and I like to keep us in their thoughts and prayers and all this. And I think we just put too much pressure on it. It ended up not working. It I shouldn't say it didn't work. It worked. And then it ended in a chemical pregnancy shortly
Mhm.
after. So I got with my doctor, we talked to our doctor, and they decided to do another protocol for us. Um, and so we have been on a transfer protocol now, and actually on Friday, which I didn't realize this was the date when they gave me the date, but Friday was National Rainbow Baby Day on August 22nd.
Mhm.
We actually transferred another embryo.
Mm.
And when we transfer this embryo, Kylie's, like I said, her blanket in the NICU had a bunch of bees on it. Before that, I have seen so many bees, which I know bees are it's summer, of course, there's bees around, but there are bees that will fly, like, into my car, or around my car. I haven't been stung by a bee, but I have been surrounded by so many, so I was taking that as a positive sign, and then when I woke up on Friday, for the first time since November when I sat in that doctor's office at my maternal fetal medicine doctor, was the first time I felt peace since then. Like, I just have had a peace about life and where we're at in this journey since Friday morning. And then I found out that it was National Rainbow Baby Day on the way to our transfer, which just felt very special too.
Mm.
And up until recording this podcast, I have not cried since Friday, which seems maybe like nothing, but when you're walking through this grief journey and you're a crier and you're an emotional person to begin with, that was, like, big. Like, I haven't me not crying in almost a week feels very momentous. So, we're hopeful that this one, has taken. This embryo actually started, like, hatching as they thought it, so I'm taking that as a good sign. So,
Mhm.
we'll
Mhm.
see, we should find out soon, but obviously when this podcast comes out, we will we will know,
Yeah.
and we're hopeful that but if it not, it's okay. We'll
Mhm.
keep going because we live our life every day for Kyleigh because she's worth it and she deserves it.
Mhm. She totally does, and so do you. I'm glad that we could be, an outlet for you to cry because maybe you needed a little bit of cry because it
Yes,
seems like a
yeah,
lot, right? Embryo transfer, the hormones,
yeah,
all of it. Rainbow baby day, just so much of it, right? So
yeah,
I'm so glad that we could hold this space for you. And I know everybody listening right now, obviously, life, by the time this comes out, life is going to look different.
mhm,
But I know everyone is going to hear your story and going to be holding on to so much cautious hope with you and sending all of the love and good vibes that we can. And we'll have to have you back to
yes,
share that
hopefully.
part of the story, right?
Yes, there'll be a rainbow baby story to share after this, yeah.
Now, to close us off, Colleen, I would love to hear how, you guys, I mean, it seems and it sounds like, Kyleigh is just an integral part of you. Of course she is. I was
Mhm,
just going to say, how do you honor her in her everyday life? I think just by being her mom and being who you are is a huge way of honoring her. But I would love to hear more about how you guys keep her name said and her, her story and her part of your family, just like an active everyday kind of thing
mhm.
in your family. How do you guys keep that?
We have her pictures, in our house all over the place. I carry around her bee blanket with me in my purse every day so that I know that I have her with me. My husband and I each got tattoos for her for my birthday, and we love when people will look at them and ask us about them. I got her heartbeat that nurse was able to snag off the NST for me without her, and that, like, I wouldn't have that, so I have her heartbeat right on my wrist right here.
Mm.
I actually I have, like, a scar from where my IV went in at one of my hospital stays, so I put it right there. But I don't let people forget that she existed. That was one of my biggest things is, like, everyone asks about your baby when you have a new baby, but it's like
Always.
everyone's afraid to ask about my baby.
Mm.
But you shouldn't be because she was here, she existed, she's important, and
Mhm.
just because she's not here doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about her. You
Mhm.
not talking about her won't make me forget that she existed. I think about her every second of every day. So by
Well,
not
she's your
talking
daughter,
yeah.
right? She's your
So
daughter.
yeah. So not talking about her or asking me about her is almost more hurtful than bringing her name up. So I feel like, it's almost become my identity that I'm a lost mom, but, like, that is who I am. because I am a mom first. And just as everyone else who has babies, that's their identity. They've become a mom. I have too. It just looks different than everyone else's journey. And so I feel like I've used my Instagram now. I will share things all the time about, which is how I found this podcast to begin with. I will share posts and stories, and I am determined not to let anyone forget that Kyleigh was here. We have a tree in our backyard that my school bought us. It's a magnolia tree that we have a little sign to that says in memory of Kyleigh Todd Meehan. So we look at that every day. I also have already purchased a swaddle to bring home her future children or her future siblings in that has bees on it. And something my husband and I have promised to do is to always talk to our future children, like, about her, that they will know her, they will know that she existed, they will know that she is their older sister. She's just not here, but that's okay. That one
Mhm.
day, hopefully, we'll see her again.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm holding on to that hope with you. That's something I believe so much, that we'll all get to see our babies again. And it's going to be the best day in the world.
Like, I see that quote that goes all over the internet all the time that says, "Bury me in sneakers because I have a long way to play
Mhm.
date," and I can't wait to hear her
Mhm.
voice one day.
Mhm. Mhm. So beautiful. Well, Colleen, um, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing Kyleigh with us. Thank you for sharing your journey. I know there's so many listeners that are going to hear your story and just feel so seen. And thank you for being part of that, healing collective, because these stories are, and your story is so important, and Kyleigh's story is so important, and we never want that story to go quiet. She is real, and she is your daughter, and you are a mother, and you're a beautiful mother at that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story. Part of my healing journey has been talking about her and about our story because it is important, and I do think that people should share because it helps more people not feel so alone.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this episode touched your heart, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to rate and review The Rainbow Connection. Your words help this podcast reach other mothers who need to hear these stories, the ones still searching for hope, for comfort, and for connection after loss. Every review, every star, every kind word truly makes a difference. Thank you for helping me keep these stories alive. I'll see you in the next episode.